Hello everyone, so I'm going to be showing off some history of my OCs. Considering that it's been a long time since I've done something like this, but we're going to start my focus on this guy. This is one of my OCs, I think the fourth one I made. Originally he was called Robin. And if I hold on. So he was originally Robin, and I was kind of based him off, like Robin from Teen Titans. This was back when my brain wasn't thinking of how to make OCs, and I just did recolors, and it looked awful. But in the end, I fixed the was my cringy work that is what it looks like. This was what he looked like before. Oh, that's not him. That was supposed to be like an alternate version of him. Where the heck? Oh, there he is. Just, yeah. See, he was a recolor. And, yeah, he is still a... Back then, I still made him as Sonic's, Shadow's brother. And then, yeah, he was always the flirty one. And then he changed, this was when he changed to Roberto, which is now what he looks like today. Though back then I kind of made him with more quills. Now has 5 quills on the side, so that make a lot of other quills. Let's change it to Roberto now. See, this was debut of Roberto, and he has, yeah, I did a lot of craziness back then, like I said, but this is what my first reference sheet looked like back then. And then this is what his reference sheet is now, which is almost identical, but it looks a lot better than what it did. So this is what he looks like. 2009 is when I did his reference sheet, and that's when I did other people's reference sheets, but this is what his reference sheet is. So, yeah, his storyline changed dramatically since back then, but he is still annoying to Shadow. Like, annoying. I'm actually redrawing this scene into my original style, well, like my new style. Now, so this is like the newest. Okay, let's do this. There we go. Let's exit out of that and show you this. This is the recent drawing I did of him a month or 2 ago, because I wanted, actually it's been a year ago since I drew this one. That was his emotions a long time ago, back in 2010, and I'm going to redraw his emotion sheet since I gotten a lot better. This is one I just did today, and it is Roberto and Ashley. This is so I got 2 Ashleys. This Ashley is the one that started my whole thing, so she is now with Roberto. And now I also did this one yesterday with it's like a chibi Roberto on his favorite food, which is the cheeseburger. So yeah, Roberto is like, and now that, so back then I was a big Shadow fan. I am still a Shadow fan. And seeing it this year is Shadow year, because the movie, and then they just released the new trailer for the game that's coming out this year, Shadow. Technically it's Generations adding Shadow. I figure, why not show you guys. Zoom in. This is Roberto's bio. And I do have a story for him as well that I worked on him. So this is everything you see is Roberto's. I got the other characters I am working on his bio, but I have not made it fully. Even though my first character was Sledge, Roberto's been the main focus. So I got Sledge, I got Zoe's working on. Now, Risha was a Tails, like, technically his twin sister that was, yeah. Back then, I just thought of weird stuff, so, but I'm still gonna make her a focus in the storyline. And there's Frankie, that is Sledge's twin sister. And then we got Peter the Porcupine, which, yeah. There's been a lot of characters I made. Musa, which I actually redrew her. Go back. I redrew her and everything, and she is now completely different from what she looked like back then. And strangely, she's getting a lot more love than Roberto. Like, I scroll down, 627 views and 18 likes. How is this one getting more likes than the other characters I made, like Shannon here? She used to be a hedgehog, and I changed into a cat, which needs more cats and other animals. And she has a brother that... See, Shannon used to also be a Shadow sibling, but she's not anymore. Even though she has the similar colors of Shadow and Roberto, she is not a Shadow person. Yeah, so. And then we got Lindsey, which she is Amy's cousin I made back then. And yeah, this. Yeah, I gotta fix that. I now did Team Gun, and it says Team Mural, which I need to fix that. This, so they are two versions of Ashley, which is me, but still. This version right here is the one I started with. On this one I developed a while afterwards, and she's my persona version. They're two completely different versions of Ashley, but they got the same name, so it's kind of confusing, and their designs are completely different. See, persona, and then, yeah, which they're both vampires, but yet they're, yeah. It's confusing having two at the same character. So, in hindsight, what do you think of my lovely character Roberto? I mean, I do have a storyline I will be putting in the description down below that you can read, because I don't really talk much when it comes to putting details. It's kind of hard for me, but yeah, I will. Yes. I can tell you this much. Roberto has like Pinkie Pie personality, and he did join Gun way before the others did. Like, let's just say his pod got taken down. He wasn't even finished. Like, he wasn't finished. Gerald and Black Doom did not finish him. So he's like, so he has a lot of flaws with him. So technically, that's why his personality is kind of crazy, is because his mind, they didn't finish his mind very well. So now he's like all scatterbrained and stuff. But I mean, like, the first thing he woke up to was his new partner, which is in the storyline I did with him, is called Mark. And he's a gun agent that has taken care of Roberto all these years. So he does still have his immortality like Shadows, but he stayed up a lot longer. So he's like in his 40s. Yeah, it's been 50 years, but technically he was made a little bit later, kinda. I mean, he was found 10 years afterwards, so that's why he's 40. But technically he was 10 years old when they found him. And so he grew up with this guy Mark, that has been his partner in crime just about his entire life. This is not what he looked like back then. He got his scars, which is right here. This is his scar on the cheek here, and then these right here is his scar on his eye. He was born with his different eyes, but this eye is a little bit blind since he got attacked with it. That's why he wears these glasses. So he was actually wearing a gun soldier outfit just about back then, until he finally decided to be different, and he found these boots. And then the cloak is one thing. This cloak Mark gave him, so it's very sentimental for him. So if something happens to his cloak, yeah, he don't get mad easy unless something happens to his friends and everything else. Like, it's confusing. So because he was released, and then they finally found Shadow and put him on, Prison Island, they let him go and see Shadow in his sleeping state, but he wasn't really. I mean, he really wanted to meet him, but he couldn't really meet him just yet. So it's, yeah, I'm like literally telling a story just about of the story. And this story here, go right here, it's on Wattpad, and this is the whole dang story. It's really long, and yes, some of it takes place with Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes, but like I said, he's kind of in his own. Yeah, and he does meet Rouge, and they become friends as gun agents and stuff. And then he met two other girls, which they all three form a team, which is Team Gun. I don't know why I did Team Mural, but it's actually Team Gun. And he's like technically he's the speed type, Lindsey's the power type, and Musa is the flame type. Yeah, so it is very, very long to read. I'm trying to tell you in little bit by bit. So Roberto, as I was trying to say, when he first woke up, of course met Mark and stuff. Then they went to the food court because he was a little hungry. And this was when his craving of cheeseburgers comes to mind, because Mark orders cheeseburger for him. And this is like his very first food he has ever consumed, and just fell in love with the darn thing to the point now he just craves them just like Sonic's chili dogs, but it's cheeseburgers, or burgers, or, anything burger related. Which he can consume like 6 cheeseburgers a day and just handle that for the whole day. He can't really eat a lot, but he eats like 6 amount of 6 of them. And I said he had to learn everything from gun. Like, even went to school and with gun. I remember the lieutenant that hates Shadow never really, like, he met Roberto, but he's not really, he doesn't really get like, the vibes, like, kind of like with Shadow, since Roberto wasn't even on the arc when this happened, so they're like frenemies in a way, even though Roberto doesn't know this, because he never witnessed what happened on the arc. And yeah, there's a lot of things I've done with this character now, since back then when it was just a throw-in character I did. Now he's like the focus of my characters, which I'm also going to do other characters too. Like, for instance, Musa. Musa is. When I made Musa, it's like I made her with 3 tails instead of, 2 tails. And you got this Ashley here. This Ashley was actually. She was made. Technically, I made her. So, technically, she was born with Ashley here. This one was cursed with the vampireness. And then this one, technically, since it's my persona, she gets teleported here from another universe to this universe, and that's why these two Ashleys are in the same area, but technically they're not having a space continuum thing, because this one is actually used to be human. And then she was technically brought in as this Ashley here. So this Ashley is... Anyway, this Ashley, back then I'd made her like the side hero, technically focusing on her in my stories, because I made a lot of comics with her. And until go back, shortening it. There we go. There we go. Shortening it up. Yeah, I made a lot. Her design was like crazy beforehand. And then I turned into the turquoise style. And then first she was like wearing a bow, which I don't know why I made her wearing a bow, because she is a tomboy and she don't like bows. So yeah, then I did this with the cap, which I don't know. Do you like the cap or do you like her in the ponytail? Because this was when I made her in the ponytail, and I don't know, the cap, I might make her wear it another time, but with the ponytail. I don't know why I got rid of the cap. So yeah, I did comic. I did comics back then, which I need to get back to doing, though it takes forever to make. See, all these, this right here is the comic I did with this Ashley when I used Cap. And so, this was like when Sasha appeared. Sasha the squirrel is my OC. That is, she owns a restaurant and is mainly the cook there and has other people attending. Anyway, this was Shane's old design, which let me look this. The sketches. I haven't fully done these yet. This is Shane's new look. He is a cat, and Shannon's the younger sister. He's the older. And now, don't that look better than having another recolor shadow? So, yeah, that back then I was like having so many dang shadow relatives, and that was just overwhelming. So now we just only got stuck to Roberto being the only relative, and Shane and Shannon are the yeah. So this comic here technically debuts. Yeah, I did my character here, and this was when she first meets everybody, yada yada. And I said, big Shadow fan, and I always shipped my character with him. But now, I figure why not do my character here with him. My persona is different story because she is shipped with. I did my persona actually with Infinite and Shadow, but technically they're like fighting. Yeah, and I literally made something with Eggman having made two characters. Yeah, that's in the past. This is literally in the past. We'll go literally in the past. Yeah, you can also read. You either can read it on DeviantArt or Wattpad because I got them in both things. So yeah, we going to end with the note of saying, if you would like to see more of my characters, because I'm also gonna try to do some animation, and I also need a 3D model of my characters. So I can do like MMD, and in that video game, the Sonic World DX, I want my boy here in a 3D model. Also my other characters, but mainly my focus was on him, and I also need to make a reference sheet for my other characters, which I have like 20 characters with Sonic. And I also need to do some more with the crystal stars, which I'm going to make another video on them. But right now this is Sonic related, and I wanted to share my cute little boy here. So yeah, I will see y'all later.